Hi everyone! Today I'm going to go over how I designed this Autumn Fairy Night. I drew this last year, but since it's February and a popular art prompt list for the month is about fairies for Fae or Fairy February, so I think now is the best time to talk about it. Well, I guess it would have been better to talk about this in autumn for an Autumn Fairy Night, but oh well. First of all, I didn't end up recording the early sketch because I didn't think this doodle would turn into a finished drawing, but I guess that just happens sometimes. Also, I figured out when you open a new window for the current Photoshop file that you're working on, you can move it to another screen and record the process without seeing all my excessive zooming in and zooming out. Granted, when the footage is slowed down, the lines of the drawing look a bit choppy, but sped up this works great. It's kind of like the recording process you get when you are working with a Procreate file. But enough of that, let's talk about the actual picture. I was in the mood for drawing armor and warm color schemes to match autumn. I thought it'd be pretty fun to draw a fairy knight to contrast the last fairy girl I made, which was very cute and dainty. For inspiration, I've been reading a lot of Witch Hat Atelier. It's a beautiful comic about a girl who wants to be a witch. Honestly, I could stare at the manga art all day just because it's so pretty. I love how it looks like it came from an old etched woodblock print, plus all the details of the frames and how every now and then the characters will interact with the space of the frame itself. I could talk about Kamome Shirahama's work all day, but her line quality is what inspired me to draw this character. Since I was focused on the lines, I opted to leave it as a flat coloring with very minimal shading. And since I was still thinking about Witch Hat Atelier, the design for her helmet was meant to resemble the shape of a witch hat. This was loosely based off the manga because hats with brims are looked down upon in the story, but since my character has nothing to do with Witch Hat Atelier, it doesn't matter. I didn't want to have just like a metal like witch hat on her head, so I decided to just have a regular knight helmet and then have like the ribbon on it kind of reflect the silhouette of a hat. I wanted her outfit to reflect autumn, but I'm not sure I fully achieved that. The colors itself look definitely like that, but I feel I could have done better with the details of her clothes. I decided to give her a thick long sleeve shirt and some clothes that drape over her hips. I thought it'd be fun to add tassels to the ends of it, because I'm sure when she moves or flies around they would dance in the wind. She also has a small cape, but it only covers part of her back so the wings will have enough room to move, which is why you can't see the back of it. I ended up trying to add a leaf pattern to her clothes. I'm not sure if that was in the recording or not, but it just looked a little too distracting, so I ended up getting rid of it and just went for a simple gradient in the end. For her armor, I found a bunch of references on Pinterest. I ended up drawing a lot of overlapping pieces, both on her arms and below the knees. Given the angle of her arms, it took me a few times to get her forearm armor right. I even debated giving her big gloves that would have also overlapped, but it got a little too complicated, so I just scrapped that idea. It also took some time to find a good design for the wings. I ended up basing them off cicada wings, but I did experiment more with some swirls or sparkly elements. I was originally going for something that was similar to like what Tinkerbell has to kind of contrast the knight outfit she has, but I think the cicada wings just work well. Like I said, I drew this a few months ago, but if I were to redraw her today, I think I'd add in a lot more leaf details etched into the armor. Maybe even make the shoulder armor a pauldron? I think that's what it's called? Anyway, the shoulder armor on her shoulder in the shape of fallen leaves, or maybe even add a bark texture to it. And speaking of the armor, I'm not sure if I want it to be metal. Maybe it's made of some fantasy material that's hard but light, I don't know. Either way, I still like the color scheme, so maybe it's just an organic material that's painted silver. Looking at the colors, that's one thing I don't have a problem with. I wanted them to be more faded, nothing too vibrant since fall seems more muted to me. I ended up finding a lot of good color schemes online. I think I just googled warm color schemes or fall colors and ended up desaturating them a bit. I did want the ribbon on the helmet to stand out, so I made that the only red color in her outfit. And since her sword and wings kept blending into the background, I decided to make them blue. I think the wings and the sword being blue contrasts great with the warm colors of her outfit. I made some different color variations off screen, and once I found one I liked, I decided to just film me coloring in everything. For her personality, I wanted to make a very serious woman. Someone who has spent years of her life in training. Because of this, I wanted to make her pose look a bit stiff and attentive, as if she was like standing at guard or ready to fight. I picture her to be the size of a regular person. Maybe she watches over fairies and the fae who can't fight, both big and small. I also wanted to give her sword personality, so I ended up drawing some dragon scales on it. Perhaps in this world there are fairy knights who fight off dangerous dragons. The best and most elite, who have killed a dragon, get to use their scales in their weapons and armor. Not only would it be a great sword to have against dragons, it would also signify the strength of the wielder, because they would have to prove themselves and survive in many battles to have that sword. This would mean each dragon sword would be one of a kind, designed for what the victorious knight would want to use. If I ever decide to make another fairy knight, I think I would make a winter fairy next. Maybe they would also have a dragon scale sword of a different color. In the end, I guess that means there would be 4 elite knights to represent each season. And probably each knight would be the commander of an area. Who knows? Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed hearing me talk about this Autumn Fairy Knight. As usual, I don't have a name for her, so if you have any suggestions, let me know. Here is the final result, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye bye!